Hi.
Greetings. We are in Genesis 31, working from verse 36 to the end of the chapter.
Then Jacob was angry and rebuked Laban, and Jacob answered and said to Laban, "What is my trespass? What is my sin that you have so hotly pursued me? Although you have searched all my things, what part of your household things have you found? Set it here before my brethren and your brethren, that they may judge between us both. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried their young, and I have not eaten the rams of your flock. That which was torn by beast I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it. You required it from my hand, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. There I was. In the day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from my eyes. Thus I have been in your house 20 years. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. Unless the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac, had been with me, surely now you would have sent me away empty-handed. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked you last night."
Then Laban answered and said to Jacob, "The daughters are my daughters, and the children are my children. The flocks are my flocks, and all that you see is mine. But what can I do this day for these my daughters, or for their children whom they have borne? Come now, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between you and me." So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. And Jacob said to his kinsmen, "Gather stones." And they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jegar Sahadotha, but Jacob called it Galiad. Laban said, "This heap is a witness between you and me today." Therefore he named it Galiad. And Mizpah, for he said, "The Lord watch between you and me when we are out of one another's sight." Little Mizpah seems to mean watch post in Hebrew.
50 you haven't read? No?
Yeah, 50 ends this section. "If you oppress my daughters, or if you take wives besides my daughters, although no one is with us, see, God is witness between you and me."
Then Laban said to Jacob, "Here is this heap, and here is this pillar, which I have placed between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness, that I will not pass beyond this heap to you, and you will not pass beyond this heap and this pillar to me for harm. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us." And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they ate bread and stayed all night on the mountain. And early in the morning Laban arose and kissed his sons and daughters, and blessed them. And then Laban departed and returned to his place.
Well, that seems like a happier ending than it might have been. I guess the thing that hits me between the eyes is these impersonal references to God. Even Jacob here, "If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, the fear of Isaac had not been on my side." And then you have lower down Laban speaking in the same way, only more so. "The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father." So he's taking their religion all the way back to their ancestors.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that authority is better than no authority. And that's the basis for the covenant arrangement they make.
Yeah.
But it's not personal religion as we find later in the Bible. The name Jehovah is only here, once or twice. The rest of the time they're referring to the God of somebody else.
So the confrontation only really maybe ends peacefully because they don't find anything.
Yeah.
When we know that she did have stuff. But we didn't know that. But they make a kind of open trial out of it. So both sides, Laban and his troop that have come, which are his children and brothers and sisters, maybe uncles, whatever, they've come to face them, and they make this open. You look at all my stuff, put anything before the others, so that they can make a decision based on everyone knowing everything.
So this concept of community consensus or community accountability is right there. At least they believe in that, both of them.
Yeah.
Even the stones are called to witness, right? And this is what this little monument means. This is a public testimony that we have made this covenant.
Yeah, yeah. So, but from what they say, that both of them feel cheated.
Yeah.
Both sides feel cheated. Laban says everything is his, and Jacob is like, I've done this, this, this. I have to leave with something. So I think that's kind of interesting that they both feel cheated. They're not seeing things from the other person's perspective.
Even the prominence of this title for God, and it's capitalized in the ESV, fear of Isaac.
Yeah.
And that's referred to what, twice here? Then you realize, okay, the story just before this, of course, is of the theft of the family gods. What is all this but what we would call superstition about what you have to do to placate or to please the gods? You've got to have your family gods with you because you're afraid. So I'm not surprised to see that the phrase fear of Isaac has now become a title for God.
Yeah. So, and it's both sides have that kind of superstition, because obviously she wouldn't have stolen the gods if she didn't think that they had some value.
Yeah.
In achieving what she was wanting.
But of course, coming from a cult like we do, we don't have this idea of covenant. It's not basic to our faith, but it is obviously basic to their faith, even though their faith looks like superstition 4,000 years later. But it's fear oriented, so we do have that connection with cults. Of course, they're always fear oriented, but the idea of a community consensus and a visible witness that everybody else knows about.
Yeah.
We could have used that when we were in Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we were leaving, we tried that. We suggested, if you're going to have a committee meeting with us, we want to invite everyone. Our family, the congregation.
And the answer you got?
Oh, that's not our policy.
It's not the society's policy.
But that seems to have been the way Israel did it, and even their forefathers did it. They saw the wisdom in having as many people there as possible, so that you have a better chance of a fair discussion.
So in church history, that's what's known as the Catholic consensus, i.e. both Protestants and Orthodox and Catholics try to go back to the consensus of the early church fathers, and beyond that to the New Testament itself, right? So it is a valuable principle, and we've spoken about it before, because we did a series on John 14 to 17, right? Where Christ, the last night of his life, is essentially saying that the Holy Spirit will now be your comforter and will be your guide and will guide you into all truth.
Yeah.
And that builds in, because it is a plural you there, not a singular you.
Yeah.
The concept of a Catholic consensus is there from the beginning of the church.
Yeah. It's guiding the group, not just an individual.
That's right. So it suppresses individuality? No, it doesn't. It enhances individuality, because you all have a contribution to make to that consensus.
Yeah.
A personal gift that God gave you, but not to be exercised alone.
Yeah.
So our links were on that series, right?
The John 14 one. How two Jehovah's Witnesses lost confidence in their own opinions to have value, see the value of consensus, Catholic consensus.
Yeah.
And the second one was a link to do with how can you be wise without the Watchtower, without J.W. Org?
Based on Proverbs?
On a Proverbs, walking with the wise.
Mm.
And you wanted a playlist as well.
Yeah, we have a He Gave Teachers playlist, which is now something like 1,400 videos. But that's because we feel that the greatest error the Watchtower made and other cults make is to cut off that concept of consensus.
So a lot of book recommendations in that one, right?
Yeah, from a very wide consensus of Christian teachers over the centuries.
Yeah. Good.
See you soon.